right, we had a technical difficulty here with the stream for YouTube. I'm coming in right now. Chris Varley subbing in for Michael Noss for the moment while we get that sorted out. All right, so anybody has questions, please let me know. All right, I see people starting to filter in here. So again, live open forum here. Fire away some questions. I don't have any predetermined content. And again, as people start to filter back in, no pre-done content or anything. So please, if you guys have questions, fire away. Coming in as the substitute teacher for the moment. Take a look around. Take a look around Holly. I haven't given her a look at all today yet. So Perry, this is something that's been on one of my watch lists for a little bit here. And then I pulled it off. And of course it does this today. Bring over a drawing tool, take a look here, and watched it through this move here. Never really pulled the trigger on any of it. And so we started to curl back down here. Thought that was the end of the move. And of course, that's what happens today. So, always hindsight trading. All right, so I know I have someone here watching that's asking about EMAs crossing VWAP. So we don't have much in the way of crosses. We have nothing in the way of EMAs, period. We can put them on a chart as an indicator. We do not have them as a scanning point whatsoever in any way, shape, matter, or form as far as users building scanners. What I'll show you here is what we call our configure window for an alert window. And this is going to go over every single data point that we have that you could create a scan with. You're seeing icons like this that you see here currently. Those are our alerts, our events, meaning that this has to happen in order to get the alert. They work in combination with what you're going to see down here is a teal and purple set of icons here. These are called our filters down here. So they work hand in hand. The filters have to be met at the same time that the alert is happening in order to get an alert triggered. So it's one form that we scan. Now, we do have VWAP filters. We do have SMA filters, which is simple moving average, versus EMA, which is exponential moving average. All right. So you could, in theory, create with these filters something that looks for the SMA, whatever period SMA that we have that you might want to use with a VWAP close. But then you would have to attach it with one of these events, one of these alerts, all these different items here. Now, we do have some SMA crossover alerts. However, the issue with these is they have a built-in volume confirmation. It cannot be removed from the coding at all, period, no matter what anybody wants to do. And it will cause these to come in late sometimes. So unfortunately, our crossovers are not that great. And they are hard coded. There's no altering these. There's no customizing these. There's no changing it. There's no anything. You can select it. You can add other filter metrics to put in with the scan, but you cannot change what is built into these alerts whatsoever. So the other workaround that I would have for you, if you wanted to build a scan, would be use what we call a top list. So we can see a difference here. A for alert window, T for top list. The difference between these two is this A list has to have that alert, that event, a new high, a new low, a check mark high, a range break, so on and so forth, out of the 100 and something alerts that we have, where this top list does not need that. All it needs is the filters to be met. That's it. And every 30 seconds it goes back and forth to the servers. You can see a 30-second timestamp here, and it'll return every stock that meets that criteria, meaning that you could plug in values in one of the SMAs that we have with a VWAP and try to find something that's close to that cross or at that cross. So for example, we could come to new. We can come to top list. All right. It'll come with some stuff that's already going to try to be predefined. We can erase those in what we call our window specific filters list here. All right. And we come to search and go VWAP. All right. And so we have distance from VWAP 1 because we also have anchored VWAPs of 5 days. So VWAP 1 is your traditional intraday VWAP, what VWAP was originally meant. We're going to add that filter. We're just going to give it a value for the moment of 0.01. And this will tell me it's looking for stocks now where the price is at least 0.01% above the VWAP. Okay. Just adding that as a placeholder filter for the moment. All right. Now we can come and search SMAs. All right. And these are the SMAs you have to choose from. All right. All these SMAs as filters. So if you like to hear in this chat, you can let me know an SMA that you want to look at, and I can give you a yay or nay on whether we have it. As well, we do have a list of every single alert and filter that we have, which I will also go ahead and share. So let's see here. Let me find a link for that. So every single alert and or filter that we have in that link that I just shared there in the YouTube chat, that is everything that we have. If you don't see it on that list, we don't have it. And that's the short and skinny of that. But as an example, what we could take is, for example, a 20 SMA, for example, and we can add that filter to the scan. And now we would give it a value of, let's say, if it was below this way. All right. So now we have one that's above price with the VWAP, one that's below price. All right. So show me stocks where the price is above the 20 SMA, where it is at, and it is no more than 1.01% below the SMA. We could start to play with these filters and these values of these filters in the maximum and minimum columns to try to start to return those charts that we want to see. All right. And then you'd open a chart and you'd start to plot it according to the VWAP and to that 20 SMA. All right. So we could come and we can make a new chart, a new chart window. All right. We can come to indicators. All right. We're going to edit. All right. I'm going to get rid of some of the stuff that's on here that we won't need for the moment for what we're looking for. All right. Now we're going to add a VWAP. VWAP, add. I want to change the colors here. Make sure that shows up on our chart. And, if anybody has any other questions here, please, fire them away for me. Make sure I've done this all right. colors here for the VWAP. All right, so now we can see a red VWAP and the 20 SMA, all right, on a 5-minute chart. And you'll have to figure from here, what time frame do you want to work in, and start to play with these values in this here, all right? In this scan, in the configure, you'll start to play with those values and see what is going to work best for you. And then every 30 seconds, this is going to return all the stocks that meet the criteria of those filters. All right, so to my friend there that was in the live support chat, I hope that kind of gives you some information, or good enough information to work with what we're capable of doing, what we're not capable of doing. There's some flexibilities, there's some not flexibilities. The not flexibility is if we don't have a data point for it, we simply just don't have a data point for it. The reason we don't have the data point for it is I can't answer that. I'm not a developer. I'm a trader. No plotting. I'm not sure what happened there. There's, YouTube and some of our streaming software don't always work so great with each other. So I was able to get this going. One of the streaming softwares we work with, once the stream gets broken, it won't let us start the stream again while it crunches all that data to put onto YouTube, unfortunately. This streaming software here lets us start and stop a stream when we want, but there's other limitations with this software that the other software doesn't have. So it's a kind of a give and take relationship. So that's it. So, okay, to the person that just left the chat again, you keep leaving the chat before I can answer your question. So it's kind of hard to help you when you're, not cooperative in that way. But I'll go ahead and end that chat again. And if, you'd like to ask questions again, by all means, come back. So sorry, just taking a look around with some other stuff here going on. Kind of jumped on this at the last second there. So. All right, so if anybody else has questions, do you think Trails will ever make a simulator for after hours day trading practice? Probably not, because the issue you have with outside of regular market hours is that it's limit fills. There's no market orders on any of that. So there's no way to, when you start getting stocks that have a 30, 40 cent spread after hours, how do you give anybody even close to a realistic fill on that? You have no way to know where a market maker would fill someone. It's absolutely impossible to know. So am I going to say, no, it will never happen? I won't say that. It's highly, highly unlikely for now. However, we're moving towards a 24-hour market, whether people realize that or not. How fast that happens, I don't know. Sometimes there's some news and some tech that comes out that makes it look like, we're on the cusp of it. There's other times there's things that make it look like we're, still kind of far away from it. The powers that be with those types of things, who knows what's really going through their minds. No way to really know. So that's kind of the short and skinny of that as far as that goes. I think you might be able to, I know you can close orders that you have open with the simulator in the after hours. I think you have to do it with a limit price though. I'm not sure, but buying, I don't think it'll work in like that. And like I said, it just has to do with the market mechanics of it all. just a little internal chatting, trying to see what we're going to do for coordinating at the top of the hour here, if it's going to be possible to get the other streaming software up or not. But again, keep the questions coming for me, please. Let's see. We're moving towards 24-hour market. Over 20 years ago, nothing came of it. Here's the big thing, though, now, David. Crypto. It's not going away whatsoever. No matter what people think of it, it doesn't really have any real world use right now, but neither does gold, and gold's still here. So, so at some point, people whose market share is being eaten by crypto, they're going to move over to 24-hour markets. It's just that simple. You have to. You go the way of the technology, or it'll pass you by. And my best example of that is IBM. IBM refuses to, for whatever reason, update and innovate at the rate that everybody else is doing it. And the bottom line is they suffer for it. IBM is, they just issued debt to pay a dividend. And that's what IBM is. Sorry, just fielding some answers here. TPGY. All right, what does TPGY look like? That's interesting. That's a heck of a move. Some serious volume coming in here. I'm guessing it's China, right? Fourth word. Interesting. A lot of times when I see it looks like this up here means China. China. I'm discussing China earlier with some of the other guys. I was looking at Seoul. I had an alert go off. Well, you can see here I had the alert go off at 29, and it was pretty solid alert. Time to certainly get in, especially on a 5-minute chart. Nice move, but I'm trying to find my swing trading swing again, if you will. And but Forex never got to be mainstream like crypto did. I'm not, like I said, David, I'm not sure if, I'm not sure that we ever, get to 24-hour markets. I'm not betting anything on it, but, I think it's highly likely. And, some people that are much smarter than me in the space that have worked in, with major funds and things like that, they believe that it's going to happen sooner than later. So, who knows? Who knows for sure? But, when there's money to be made, I can tell you that, especially the NYSE and the NASDAQ, more the NYSE than anything else. It's a living fossil. It's a living museum. Nobody needs to go to the NYSE to do anything. There's nothing that you do at the NYSE that cannot be done from your home. So people aren't paying the money that they used to pay to be on the floor, have those booths, so on and so forth. Stations, broadcasts like CNBC and Bloomberg, they don't hold the weight that they used to. Anybody real considers most of that stuff a joke. So, they don't have the viewership that they used to have, or they don't carry the weight that they used to have. And how do I know this? I know this because the NYSE and the NASDAQ are squeezing everybody for any penny they can for market data usage. And they are going after everybody and anybody for it. And the reason why is they're losing market share. And how are they going to get that market share back? By going 24 hours, competing with crypto and things like that. You look for, for us, we're subscription-based software. A lot of younger users that are coming in, under the age of 30, they won't take a subscription with us because we don't have crypto data, So, these are the metrics that we look at, what's real and sales and not sales and things like that. So, like everything else, though, if it was easy, it would be done right away. hopefully at some point we do have crypto data. I know it was talked about years ago, but we'll see what happens. No, you're absolutely right. There are definitely some heavyweight people on the other side of that coin that do not want us to go 24 hours because that means that they lose control. It's hard to monitor something 24 hours. It's just not possible. And they love their gap ups and they love running these stops and they love doing the things that they do without 24 hours. You lose the halt ability and the resume ability and all these crazy things like that they're certainly probably making a boatload of money off of. And so, of course, they're not going to give that up for sure. Um, so, that's my 2 cents on that. And like I said, I know nothing more than the average person. I probably know less than the average person, to be quite honest. But, when money's involved, and people are on both sides of that money, the 24 hours going live is more money for them. 24 hours live is less money for them. There'll be a battle to be had, and we'll just have to see where it ends up in the end. That's all there is to it. So either way, I just trade my plan. Soul dying with tan. I'm not sure. I didn't look at tan yet today. I haven't looked at any of I've been kind of head down. I had a little more trading going on in my personal stuff today than I have in the last little bit. Tan's doing what I kind of thought it would do, especially yesterday I was talking about. We're catching this 8 EMA again. I'd like to see a consolidation before it makes a move. I still think it's setting up to make that next move and break this range, quite personally. But we'll see. You also have this here. The market started to sell back off again. And this is, where all-time highs are just tough. We had a 5% pullback off all-time highs. And now here we are marching back up. We get sideways all through here. My chart is being dumb again on this last update. I'll have to fix that again. And then get this move and we fade back, and we get this move and go sideways, and we get this move and we fade back. And that's what you see in a lot of when you're breaking all-time highs again. It's never just a straight shot up and then maybe a plateau. You get a lot of this up and back down and then up and then back down. And that's what we're going to see, this grind. The other thing that I will note that Andy mentioned earlier that I feel like is of some importance is, assuming it's still up. Yeah. And so we got the VXX is up with the stock market at all-time highs. So nobody wants to miss out on the move up on the market overall, and nobody believes the move either. So it's, everybody's getting into it and they're hedging with volatility again. So, it is what it is. Everybody wants to be a dip buyer right up until the dip comes, as the saying goes. And then the dip comes and everybody's like, well, I didn't mean this kind of a pullback. And then it starts to move up and they're like, oh, well, I should have bought in the pullback. And it's just, that conviction. It's hard to have that conviction when, you're up here and you think about where you can fall to, unfortunately. So, it's what separates the winners from the losers. Tuesday is a pullback day. Well, actually, Tuesdays traditionally turnaround Tuesdays. So we'll just have to see here. Mondays are usually kind of a gap up and fade and a retest of people's guts over the weekend. Turn around Tuesday, and I don't know about the rest of it. These are just sayings that I hear. I don't, I've never really looked into any of the metrics or the data on it whatsoever. So I have no idea where it really stands for any of that stuff. So sorry, just trying to catch up on some other things that are going on here. Like I said, this is kind of a surprise stream for me to start on the day today. So I'm getting my wits about me here. When there are numerous tickers running on Momo, do you have any tips how to pick a couple focus for? So my first suggestion to you is a few things here. What kind of day are we looking to get into? If you're starting the game plan in the pre-market, does it look like it's going to be a gap up day? So maybe you pick the scans you want to be looking at based on the way the day looks like it's setting up. No way to actually predict it, but so let's say that we're gapping down and you have some gap down in reverse and gap down go scanners. Well, maybe you load those instead of just regular momentum scanners, for example. Or you have a day where we're gapping up. You say, all right, well, maybe I want to look at some gap and go scanners and some momentum scanners like that. All right. And narrow it down to the ones that kind of make sense to you the most. And so this is where I think having multiple layouts can be really helpful and versatile, so that you don't have 30 scans all up at once, because no human being can look at that many scans at once. Or if there is one, fine. You're the exception, not the rule, because contrary to popular belief, human beings are not good at multitasking. And that is an absolute fact that has been proven over and over and over and over again. Now, human beings can get good at multitasking specific multitasks, but that's something that you train yourself to do, not something that you're naturally good at. And that's how that works. Um, so that's how that goes. So as I've gone over many, many times, I was one of those people that had 20, 30 scanners up. No, I won't say 20, 30 scanners, but I probably had 4 or 5 top lists and 4 or 5 alert lists that were all momentum scanners and going off like crazy. And I'd have 10 charts, plus Holly, plus my brokerage account up and things like that. And I was having little to no success whatsoever. And my successes started when I started narrowing stuff down, when when I started to figure out what I was trading and why I was trading it with my trading plan. And you might find the same thing. So you might look at the end of each day some momentum names that closed out in a way that you might be interested in the next day, and putting them on short lists, and then adding those lists so that your scans, like my scans do, only look at those stocks. And those are kind of my 2 cents on those types of things. But I think, quite personally, the more live data you have coming in, the less likely you are to have success. And that's from A, my personal experience, and from B, some experiences that I've watched other traders have as well. You look at someone like Barry, who's you're not going to find a better momentum trader that's realistic than Barry and is as honest as Barry. And he switches his scans around. He has his options scan that's been working for him lately, but he also had the options magic scan way back when. He has his gap down and reverse scans. He has his stuff that happens in earnings. And Barry changes his layout, every few months, according to what's working and what seems like it might work and things like that. So Barry never gets caught up in too many things at once. He keeps a narrow set of scans going at any one time. Well, he has them all archived, and he come back to them at any time. And I would suspect that, if something hasn't been working for a while and he wants to know, maybe switching something up, he probably opens up those scans at some point and, looks at the history of some of those things he hasn't been watching recently and see how they're doing over the, short period of time that's passed. So things like that, the work that's constantly being done to see what's working, what isn't working. That's exactly it. Perfect circle. That's exactly it. I recognized a few months ago that some of what I was doing wasn't working, so I've made some adjustments along my way. I keep kind of the same idea, but either change the charts that I'm looking at or change my expectations on the run up that I'm having. Give you an example today. I took this in the pre-market here. Let it load my chart. There we go. I grabbed this in the pre-market down here. And I talked about this stock yesterday. I said it really has that look to me. And, I didn't get in on it here yesterday, but I decided I'd put in a pre-market order down here this morning, and I grabbed it, and it made this beautiful move up. And I sold some as we were moving up, and I closed it out. Now I sold some up here, which was really nice. And I closed the last of it out down here at $13. Unfortunately, I didn't, get as much in that area as I would have liked to have. I still see this gap that's here, and I still see potential to march towards 20, but it's simply just not getting the results holding like it had previously. And, so I closed it out, and that's all there was to it. So, adjusting along the way, and it's, adjusting our expectations. The move worked, everything worked. But I took the money while it was there because I don't have the faith in things having to follow through like they had previously. And so that's the way it works. TPGY, we're doing TPGY. We're saying boom. Yeah, that was a heck of a move right there on that wick. It's one of those ones you got to, if you're in somewhere in here, you got to take some money out here, Easy come, easy go, especially stocks like this where you see all this, wicked all over. There's no nice even set of candles trending or anything like that. So that's what I'd look at is this chart. What does it give you? How many times is it gapped up and had a wick and given it up and all over? You see it all over the place constantly. So you got the money, grab some, maybe hold a little bit so you can get a little extra. But managing your risk, manage your risk, manage your risk, manage your risk. I can't ever stress that enough. But it's a good looking chart there on the intraday there, Aj. So what else is going on? So something else I'd like to note, so I got this here. I'm still in it. Very low volume stock, but it's just grinding and grinding and grinding higher on me here very nicely. And what I will note from that is natural gas is down today. All right. However, natural gas gapped down and is grinding up all day long. And the last time we saw this, the nat gas stocks went nuts back in here last week, week before last. All right. And so I'm seeing that again. This is something I've been watching. Now, I did not take it off this alert. I took it earlier in the day because I've been watching it for days and days and days. GEL, low volume stock. I've already sold some out on the way up. But I'm a believer in energy. Anybody that knows me, and so you better believe I'm probably holding this overnight because I think nat gas is just it's poised for another boom after its little pullback today. And is it even going to be a pullback today? As it's in that gap now and trying to close it? All right. So you had nat gas close here yesterday. It's already busted over its opening range, and it looks strong again to me. It looks strong again to me. So we'll see. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I've taken some money out already. I've got my stop, so I won't screw around with that. But you better believe that I'm a believer in nat gas for the time being. So if anybody's got questions, again, fire away here. I know it's a light crowd with the software bugging out on us there. So that's that. Sorry, and again, I'm just trying to keep up with some of the stuff that's going internally with support here, some things that I've been working on, and people having trouble linking their IB accounts and all that stuff like that. So the other side of a coin, a loser for me. I'm currently a bag holder. This year, I'd been in and out of it last week a little bit, and I got back in a position yesterday here on this candle, looked ready to go. It wasn't, flopped around all day, came down, almost got me on stop out down here. Looked like it was ready to set to make a move again. And now it kind of just flounders around on me. So, both sides of the coin, managing my risk. We'll see what happens with it. I still think materials, depending on, what's going to be built and what's not going to be built, or a place you want to be. I like the materials charts overall, but, picking the right material. That's, you need materials for building homes. I've been banging on the home builders for a while here again. I've been banging on the home builders since back here. They've had a nice move. I'd like to see that EMA catch the home builders here and to make the move up again. Big level coming up, but that's what I see on the home builders. That's, where I start to hedge some of my bets here, and we'll see what happens. I don't play any options, period. Maybe someday, but as someone who taught themselves how to trade stocks, 4.5, 5 years ago, I knew nothing about trading. I bought some casual stocks in the early and mid 2000s just because I liked some companies. I just bought some stocks to buy and hold. I knew nothing whatsoever about trading, EMAs, SMAs, RSI, MACD crossovers, anything to do with trading whatsoever. I knew nothing about any of it. Completely taught myself everything. That's hard enough to learn something like that in your 30s. At some point, yes, I would like to understand options better. I don't think it's ever good to stop learning, and it's never good to be ignorant of any of those things. But for now, while I'm still finding my way in the world of just trading stocks, my options knowledge is limited to that they exist and puts and calls. And that's really it. So, I'm familiar with a few people that do well with options, and Actually, some people that help me with some of the charting that I do when I'm looking at things on a overall market picture, they are futures traders. So I've stolen a piece of what I like to do, especially for letting things ride from them. But I don't look at I don't look at them the same as I do the stock charts. So that's my 2 cents as far as all that goes. And like I said, there's never anything I don't want to learn. I'm always going to keep pushing forward on those things. But at the moment, my knowledge lies here with the stocks. So, and again, keep, as I told you yesterday, Professor, keep the questions going. I'm happy to answer any questions. Anybody else that's in here, please, fire away questions. I always say when I'm doing the later day Q&As, it's much nicer when you're all creating the content here. As I say, grow and learn together. Questions don't just bring answers, they bring knowledge. So that's that. All right. And, something interesting for me to note here on my liked list, a lot more red today than there has been the last few days. So, we're due for a pause and a slight pullback again after whipping out through 458 on the SPY. We'll see. Does Market Explorer alerts freeze the data at the time of the alert? Yeah, they work more like a daily alert list, not for the strength alerts. They come in with a timestamp to when the alert, happened. So, that's the way that works in here. You can sort it also like you can with any other columns by double clicking on the column. So you can sort the data like that. But this isn't going to be actively changing during the day. It's just going to make when the alerts came through. All right. However, you have the daily charts, daily charts, daily charts, daily charts, daily charts. That's what the data is based on. This is intraday. This gapper one, this 820 cross on these gappers. So that's what you're looking at here. And again, you can sort it by when the alert came in by double clicking that stat there where all the date and time is. And there's too many alerts that come through this one for me to even make an attempt to keep track. This is what I mean by too much data. Just too much for me going through all that and watching that. Just too many alerts coming in and trying to set price alerts and what's going to go and what's not going to go. And it's on a smaller time frame than I particularly care to go for. But, if you like that kind of trading, that 820 cross on gappers might be for you. I know Michael is going to adjust it. I don't know when, or maybe it already came through. So it has a 5 relative volume instead of a 3 for the minimum. Which, you can see the relative volumes in some of these things that are coming here. LIDR, at the time of the alert, the relative volume was here, That's something. Sorry, an internal message going on here. So, do you have an infrastructure basket you like for infrastructure bill? No, I don't. My basket of stocks will always just come from my evening scan. So if I see a ton of stuff coming in from, that's infrastructure, I'll pay more attention to those specific stocks. SLCA is one that, it happened to come in over the last few weeks. It's one that I know can move. If we bring up an intraday chart of it here, a daily chart of it here, has some of these big moves. All right? So, I'm banking on possibly getting one of those big moves in this gap here, off this big cliff that it fell off of. So that's that. That. Ollie, she's got an alert. This is a stock that I've been watching pretty closely too. Energy, nat gas. I had taken it off my liked list, unfortunately, but I recognize the name. It was on my evening scan last night. I did not put it back on my list, so I wasn't sure it could get over this level here. But here's Holly liking it on support. And interesting. So she's seeing the support from yesterday. This resistance from yesterday becomes support today. So bounced there earlier. Let's see if it bounces here again. All right. So we can see exactly what Holly's looking at on this alert. What kind of move is it going to make? I'm not sure, but natural gas extraction, crude petroleum. All right. Not overly liquid, but a lot of these plays aren't. Take a look here at some of the other stuff that I'm watching, nat gas wise. So, you got SM. All right. That has a bit more liquidity to it. RRC. All right. Bit more liquidity there, but the relative volume is kind of low. RF, is this natural gas? No, this is banking. Okay. Where else do we have? So there's GEL that I'm in. There's some more to do with natural gas, petroleum, transportation, MGY, more natural gas. All right. So these stocks continue to make moves up. So let's see what we got in this one here. All right. Maybe you set a price alert trying to take out and hold this level up here, 1334, looking at maybe the top of this candle for a target. I'm not sure, whatever your trading plan says. Maybe you think it's going to have a big bounce like natural gas is already having. Take a look at the UNG again. All right. UNG continues to recover. All right. It's even, red bar NOR coming in and on here. Beautiful move here, trying to take out this level again, move back to 20 on UNG. So perhaps, Holly gets in on this trade and you catch some tailwind for that. I'm not saying it's going to, but, decent looking chart and a really strong sector there for Holly on that alert. But how I would find the basket of those stocks, or you kind of started with that question, the perfect circle is through my evening scan. But, you come up with something on your own. Like I said, I'm looking for things that are breaking out of certain levels, essentially. And that's how I kind of play it. And again, if people have questions, please fire them away for me here. See the numbers kind of back and forth on as far as the stream goes. And just some internal chatting going on here. Keeping a track of that. Probably looks like my trading day has come to an end today, unless I decide to close some shares out from everything else that I have. This was one I thought might go today. Didn't pull back, but now I'll look at this here. Is this pullback an entry, or did we double top out here on this here? But either way, it stays on my liked list. All right, is this a double top? It could be. Very well could be. Everybody's seen that 16 level and decided to jump out before 16. Not sure. But certainly worth noting. It certainly has room to run if it decides to make a move back up again. So, we talked about yesterday, what was it, SSRY, I think. Where is it? SSYS, sorry. So, I was looking at this and, gave a pullback entry here, I think. I just didn't grab it. And then I wasn't crazy about the pullback that it made on that day back there. But little did I know that it would gap up like this either. No way to know that. So, I talked about REKR, that I took that shot in the pre-market today because I was ready. I was alert. I knew what I was looking for. Well, perhaps I look at this tomorrow and see what it looks like in the pre-market and what the regular market's doing tomorrow. We were gapping up. It looked strong today, the overall market. And that's, all those things that factored into me taking that shot in the pre-market with REKR. That might be something that I try on this tomorrow. Some similar stuff. It's not crazy on the volume, 500,000 shares traded today, but still liquid enough to get in and out. So we'll see how it closes. We'll see how the market itself closes, and all those things like that. But it's something I'm going to watch. Part of my trading plan. Make sure you got your trading plan. Don't trade my plan because you don't know my plan. Sometimes I don't know my plan right up until I'm about to make the call getting in or out. So define your risk. If you can't answer what risk is to you, then figure out how to answer that question. So that's the short and skinny of that. And like I said, I work a lot with the price alerts window here. You can see things that I'm watching here on the price alerts window. I move them accordingly as price is moving up or down. I was very bullish BGFV this morning. It's one that I've done well with trading in the past. I know it can have big moves. I saw this big move yesterday. I've seen it have some big moves and some big follow-through days here. All right. I thought, are we starting something? Are we going to blast through this bit of resistance that's there? I set a price alert, went off. We couldn't get through 27, got rejected, but I keep it on the list. We'll see what happens. Again, we're not far out from earnings here. This is coming down the pipeline for you guys in the next, week, 10 days, 2 weeks. I'm not sure, but you can see we got earnings on the charts now. I'm testing it out. Hopefully we'll have it to you in the not too distant future. But this is what I do. I look for setups going into the next days. I'm trying not to chase things. All right. Now today, had this got 27 held, is that a chase? I don't think so. This one a big up day like that, it was a go, kind of pause, a go. And I thought maybe another go came today, but the market wasn't having it for this for whatever reason. But I was finding those setups that I like going into the next day with a narrow set of stocks. All right. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Kind of the short and skinny of what I'm doing and why I like to do what I'm doing. Gives me some defined risk levels here. All right. If we come and look closer in on this chart, I'm looking at the low, the open of yesterday. It seems like a significant level, and these aren't exact here, but looking at this kind of bubble there, that seems like a good area to have a stop if you're getting into me. All right. 27 seemed like a big deal, and I wanted to see it above that for me to be interested to get into it. Couldn't do it. So, this is what my eye is seeing and what my trading plan is seeing. So just coordinating with Barry here to see if we can get you guys back over to him or not. And we'll see how this all kinds of shakes out. Okay, so for anybody that's in here, we're going to try a pass over to Barry. And we'll see what happens here. All right. So if you guys get dropped on the stream here, just give us, literally 90 seconds and then try to come back, and I'll start it back up again if Barry can't get it going. So, all right, there might be a technical hiccup or two. Let's see how this all goes.